Hey there and welcome back to NBA 2K18's My League mode. My name is Pete and today we complete another part of our My League expansion series with the Louisville Legionnaires. We have a bit of a rebrand behind us and had a solid although not spectacular start to the season, so I would say let's simply continue right where we left off last time. The Legionnaires play the Brooklyn Nets next in a home game in Louisville, looking to even out the record at 5 wins and 5 losses. And that plan actually also succeeds behind a very strong team performance. Rajon Rondo came off the bench at point guard for this game, replacing Derek White, and he looked pretty good out there, just like many of our other players, who all chimed in and delivered in a close 107-100 victory. Josh Richardson continues his hot streak, scoring 22 points to lead all scorers, followed by Rodney Hood with 19 and Andre Flanders with 18 points in just under 20 minutes. And Flanders was absolutely unstoppable in the third quarter of this game. He scored 16 of his 18 points in that stretch, and he was a big reason why we kept the lead in the second half. Mo Bamba, who had a historic 31 rebound performance in the last episode, was a bit more quiet in this one. Still got himself an impressive stat line though, with 10 points, 10 rebounds and 6 blocks. We now stay at home for the next game against the Toronto Raptors, who are missing both Peltel and DeRozan, and this might just give us the edge we need to get our 6th season victory. And indeed it does, and this game was never really in question. The Legionnaires pulled away early in the first quarter and never looked back. Toronto looked absolutely lost out there. Neither Kyle Lowry nor Jonas Valanciunas was able to produce anything meaningful today, and so the Legionnaires improved to 6-5 on a 118-79 victory. The man of the match, without a doubt, rookie Andre Flanders, who scored 35 points in only 25 minutes, tying Josh Richardson for the franchise scoring record. He didn't have an overly efficient game, shooting just below 50%, but being able to put up those numbers as a rookie just a few weeks into the season, I think I agree with many of you when I say that Flanders might just be the future face of the franchise. Now Richardson himself wasn't too shabby either, scoring 19 points on 7 of 11 shooting, making sure to keep his season average above 20 points per game. Mo Bamba once again with an impressive double-double and formidable defense, 11 points, 12 rebounds, 3 steals and 6 blocks, now on pace to become one of the league's leaders, not only in rebounds but also in blocked shots. So the Legionnaires are on a small 3-game win streak here, so it might not be the best time to make any changes, still we are going to do so regardless. I actually have a small trade planned, and the player we're trying to move is Rashad Vaughn. Rashad Vaughn was re-signed last season on a 3-year $18 million contract after securing the backup shooting guard spot over Alex Abrinas and delivering solid performances. Now at that point we couldn't really foresee that Andre Flanders would join the team, however his arrival has pushed Vaughn out of the rotation entirely. Realistically, we have to think that Vaughn is probably not be happy with this development, and I think the feeling is somewhat mutual. Paying $6 million per year to a guy who doesn't really play is something that we can't really afford. So while it is still early in the season, I think moving Vaughn is more or less a no-brainer. There are definitely better places for him around the league, and I think we can easily put together a trade where both sides win. And I actually also very quickly found a suitable destination for him on the New York Knicks. I was looking for teams who could use some shooting at the guard spot, and the New York Knicks caught my eye. They do have Hardaway Jr. locked down as the starter at the 2, but what follows is a rather sizable gap. 34-year-old Courtney Lee is definitely not a realistic long-term option, while rookie Francis might still need a year or two to develop into a serviceable role player. At the same time, the Knicks should have flipped the switch to win now mode, as their 9-4 record is currently the best in the entire Eastern Conference. And with the situation as it is, I think the Knicks should be willing to agree to the following trade. Actually, I know they will, because after playing around a bit in the trade finder, they were the ones to offer it. So we are going to send Rashad Vaughn in his 3-year contract over to New York, where the situation improves for him and the Knicks gain a valuable piece off the bench. In exchange, the Knicks clear up some space at the 2 and give us the expiring $12 million contract of Courtney Lee, a contract that we can easily absorb without going over the salary cap. Including only those 2 players would leave the trade pretty lopsided though, so we're also going to receive the Knicks' first-round draft pick this year. However, there will be a pretty heavy lottery protection on it, just to make sure that if things go wrong for New York, they don't lose out on a top pick. If everything goes according to plan, however, we free up $6 million of cap space for each of the next 2 seasons, and we also acquire a late first-round pick. And who knows, last time we had one we were able to draft sharpshooter Mitch Dennis, so maybe we'll get lucky once more with this one. The Knicks agree to the move, and with that we say goodbye to Rashad Vaughn and welcome Courtney Lee to the Louisville Legionnaires. Now that Vaughn is gone, we can make one small follow-up move, and that is to call up the aforementioned rookie Mitch Dennis from the G League. I don't really plan on giving Lee a spot in the rotation, and that means Dennis can now take over Vaughn's spot at the end of the bench. So Dennis now travels with us to LA for a matchup against the Lakers, and who knows, maybe he can already see his first minutes in garbage time. Well, it took a while until we actually had garbage time, but in the end the Legionnaires come away with another victory. They now improve to 7-5 and move up further in the Eastern Conference, behind a 14-point victory in LA, 106-92. No surprises at the top of the scoring list. Richardson leads the way with 31 points, including 6 3-pointers, and he also got himself 7 rebounds to complete arguably the best stat line of the night. Mohamed Bamba then comes in as a close second with 17 points, 12 rebounds and 4 blocks. And rookie Mitch Dennis, well, he was actually able to get his first points tonight. Very late in the fourth quarter he took a pretty contested 3-pointer, but he made it and recorded his first 3 points in the NBA. So, on a 4-game win streak, we head back home for a game against the Philadelphia 76ers, and this one would come down to the wire. 9 seconds left, the Legionnaires are up by 1 and Philly inbounds the ball. They swing it around and eventually find Markelle Fultz, who gets some separation from Josh Richardson and hits the pretty much uncontested mid-range jumper. Richardson way too late on the contest here, and this could have cost us, but we still have 3 seconds left on the clock and 2 timeouts to give. Out of the first, we find a driving Tyler Ulis, who immediately gets blocked by Fultz, but the Legionnaires luckily recover it and take their last timeout with about 1 second left. And this time it's Flanders who receives the ball wide open from mid-range, but sadly still unable to hit the game-winning shot, and so Philadelphia sneaks away in Louisville with a narrow 1-point victory. Rodney Hood, our scoring leader in this one, with 18 points, but 4 other guys scored in double digits. However, for a change, no one was able to put up an overly impressive stat line. So, last game of the week and we head out on the road again. This time we travel to Utah for a matchup with the Jazz, and the Legionnaires also get back on track in this one. It was a hard-fought game for the most part, but in the fourth quarter the team was able to pull ahead, the Jazz couldn't keep up, and so Louisville wins this one 117-106. No surprises in the scoring column, our 3-headed wing attack once again very successful tonight, as Richardson leads the way with 21, followed by Hood with 17 and Flanders with 15. Cheick Diallo barely missed a double-double with 9 points and 9 rebounds, and Mo Bamba also barely scratched by, nonetheless with an impressive stat line with 8 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals and 3 blocks. So the Legionnaires are now 8-6, on pace to a winning record, however with a very busy 5-game week coming up. And we start things off in Minnesota in the matchup with the Timberwolves, who once again stand no chance against the Legionnaires team that was firing on all cylinders. Despite having a much better roster on paper, the Timberwolves never really stood a chance in this one. The Legionnaires were able to build themselves a sizable lead early on, and so Minnesota was trailing behind for the majority of the game. The final score of 112-94 then a more than fitting representation of the way this game went. Our leading scorers were unsurprisingly Hood and Richardson in this one, Hood with 24, Richardson with 23, while 4 other guys also scored in double figures, including Mo Bamba, who got himself a double-double with 10 points and 12 rebounds, while both Cheick Diallo and Bryce Johnson barely missed double-doubles with 9 points and 9 rebounds each. From Minnesota we then head back home for the second game of this back-to-back against the Atlanta Hawks. However, we couldn't have asked for a more convenient opponent in this game. The Hawks currently have an abysmal 3-13 record, so the addition of rookie point guard Brandon Strong did not yet seem to push them in the right direction. Strong, by the way, doing pretty well for himself at the moment. He's scoring about 13 points per game with 4 assists and 1 steal, shooting 45% both from the field and from deep. In this game, however, he wasn't able to make much of a difference, and so the Hawks' losing streak continues in Louisville, where they go down 78-105. Five players in double figures in this game, and the stat line of the night belongs to Mohamed Bamba, who finished with a team-high 20 points and 11 rebounds in 29 minutes of action. One day of rest and we also stay at home for the next game. This time we host the Memphis Grizzlies, another team that is not really playing all that great at the moment. With their 6-10 record, they are currently 14th in the Western Conference, and the game against the Legionnaires also wouldn't change that, Louisville pretty much dominating this one from start to finish, and the end result then a well-deserved 18-point victory. At this point I also feel like I have to make clear that I'm not playing all these games myself. Most of the time I let the CPU simulate the first 3.5 quarters, and then I jump in for the last few minutes, which most of the time doesn't change anything about the end result. So I just felt like pointing out that the Legionnaires' hot streak is not a result of me messing around with the game in any way. It simply seems like the team is legitimately clicking right now. In this game we once again had the usual suspects at the top of the list. Hood, Richardson and Flanders lead the team in scoring, combining for 52 of the Legionnaires' 102 points. So quick recap, the Legionnaires have now won 8 of the last 9 games. They are without a doubt one of the hottest teams in the league right now, and they look to continue that hot streak in another home game, this time against the Portland Trail Blazers. And the new arena definitely seems to do its part in keeping the Legionnaires successful. Yes, that is correct, they win this one as well, and improve their record to 12-6 on a 117-101 victory. Tonight's top performer, Andre Flanders, with 29 points, 8 rebounds and 4 assists, followed by Tyler Ulis for a change, who put up a very efficient 24 points to go along with 8 assists. Mo Bamba then, not a bad stat line either, 18 points, 5 rebounds and 3 steals. However, over the course of the last few games we are now accustomed to a bit more. So the Legionnaires on a 5-game win streak, winning 9 of the last 10 games, and they're now facing one of the first real challenges, one of the top teams in the Western Conference, the Houston Rockets. And sadly, all good things have to come to an end at some point, and that was also the case in this game. It was close and heavily contested, but in the end the Rockets come out on top 114-109. Once again, we had a phenomenal team effort in this game. It wasn't enough to get the victory, but it produced some good stat lines. Rodney Hood, for example, led the team in scoring with 21 points, shooting 9 of 12 from the field. Richardson and Johnson followed close behind with 17 and 15 points respectively, and Tyler Ulis had a nice double-double with 13 points and 12 assists. Check Diallo and Mo Bamba, the last 2 guys scoring in double figures tonight, both of them however unusually quiet in the rebounding department. So here we are, we have 19 games under the belt, the win streak has come to an end and we have the month of November completed, and I think it's safe to say the Legionnaires are performing well above their expectations. We currently occupy the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference behind the Cavaliers, and with 1/4 of the games already played, I think we can fix a playoff appearance as our goal for this season. I will now also quickly give you an overview of the stats for all of the players, and then I'll catch up with you in a minute. Now, to put the stats you just saw a bit more into perspective, let's quickly also have a look around the entire league, where we have Josh Richardson, for example, ranking 24th in points per game. Mohamed Bamba, meanwhile, has cracked the top 5 in rebounds per game, and not only that, he's also top 50 in steals per game, and also currently ranking 5th in blocks per game. So he might just be an early candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, however, let's not get ahead of ourselves. To complete the list, Tyler Ulis is also currently ranking 11th in assists per game, and a small improvement here could also allow him to crack the top 10. So, I would say with November completed, this is a good point to make the cut. We sadly didn't win any Player or Rookie of the Month awards, but the team success is there and we're looking to build upon that in the next episode. In the meantime, leave a thumbs up if you like this one, and of course, if you haven't subscribed already and want to support the channel, then feel free to do so. And as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.